Bonjour, Madame Tamboro.
Bonjour, bonjour Madame Kono, ça va?
Oui, ça va bien, et vous?
Oh, très très bien, merci.
Très
Oh,
bien.
nous faisons passé composé.
Yes. You remember last time we talked about the passé composé with avoir?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can think of some examples. There were those RE, IR verbs
That's
and
right.
the RE verbs and all the little endings. Yes.
That's right. Do you remember what we did when we used the passé composé with avoir? It was composed of two parts,
That's
wasn't
right. It was used with avoir, j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, and ils ont,
That's
and elles ont. And then you had past
Then we had the past participle. So
That's
the
right.
first bit we conjugated avoir, and the second bit was we added the past participle.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And some had an e acute, like for example, aller.
That's right.
There was what was the other one?
And acheter and
with e acute. That's right.
That's right. But with the IR ones, like finir, we
They
took
went to
off
finir.
they went to finir and the j'ai fini, and
And
with
the
the
vend-
RE,
They went to u.
that's right. So j'ai vendu.
That's right.
That's right. Well, passé composé with être, in the same way, we conjugate the appropriate auxiliary verb, but this time it's not avoir, it's être.
Ooh, now
Yeah,
I have
do you
to see
remember
if
how
I can
être
remember how
goes?
that goes. It's je suis,
Je suis,
tu es,
tu es,
then there's il est.
il est, or elle est, on est.
What does on mean?
On means one. It means one. We don't use it much in English, unless we're English, really. But
One
they use
does
it
this or you do that in general.
as in a general rule, but they use it
Okay.
a lot in French.
Yes,
That's right.
Okay. Then there's nous sommes.
Nous sommes,
And then vous êtes.
Vous êtes.
Oh, we have to remember that little.
the circonflexe.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then il,
Ils sont and elles
elles
sont.
sont.
That's right. So we need to know être very well.
Yes, just like we have to know avoir.
Just like we need to know avoir very well. That's right. So first bit is just the same. We conjugate an appropriate auxiliary verb. And then the second thing, we add the past participle, which is exactly what we did with the passé composé with avoir, wasn't it? It was composed of two parts. We conjugated the auxiliary, and then we added the past participle.
That seems pretty straightforward.
That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? But here's the thing. Only a few verbs take être in the passé composé. Most of them take avoir. Nearly all of them take avoir.
So if
There's
we
only a
know,
handful of them.
if we learn all the verbs that take être,
Yeah.
then we're fine.
That's
the
right.
Rest are avoir.
The rest are avoir, exactly. Now, some people have different rules for remembering what those verbs are that take être. I know some kids know Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, I think it is. But the way, how did you learn? Did you just learn them?
I think I just learned
Right.
them, and I also sort of recognised. This is ages and ages ago. What sort of verbs they were? But
Yes, that's right. Well, the
can
way I
only remember
learned,
a few. How did you learn?
my teacher made up her own way to remember it, and so that's what I learned. And it was called Parmend 5 trams, or Parmend 5 trams.
Right.
And let's have a look at it. The first one on the list is
Partir to
partir,
leave.
to leave. That's right. The next one is arriver,
Arriver.
to arrive.
Retourner.
Retourner, to return. Mourir,
Mourir.
to die. Entrer.
Entrer.
And also anything that ends in entrer. So also then
rentrer.
rentrer. Anything entrer.
What does rentrer mean?
Rentrer means to come home. Yeah. Naître,
To be born.
to be
Naître.
born. Yeah. Descendre,
Descendre.
venir,
Venir.
which means to come. And also again then, revenir, devenir, anything that ends in venir, all of them. So anything venir.
So does revenir mean to return?
Revenir means to come back.
To come back.
Yeah. And devenir means to become. That's right. Tomber,
Tomber.
to fall. Rester,
Rester.
which means to stay or to remain. It doesn't mean to rest. We have a few faux amis in French. It means to
yes,
stay or
to
to
stay.
remain. Aller,
Aller.
to go. Monter,
Monter.
to go up. And sortir.
Sortir.
That's right, which means to exit or to go out. And you can see here we go. We've got the par, mend, 5, Roman numeral, trams.
Oh, that's an excellent idea.
And that's the way I remember
so when
it.
you have a test,
You can just
should,
write-
You should write that down,
Right.
and then you remember those
That's it,
verbs.
exactly. Par, mend, 5 trams. That's it.
Palm and vine trams, fantastic.
But of course, you're right, there is a reason why these
they all
verbs...
seem to be having, like, they seem to be moving, like leaving, arriving, returning, dying. There seems to be one, like
A
they're
theme? Well,
yes.
that's true. That these verbs are actually called intransitive verbs
Oh, what
as
does
well.
that mean?
Well, that means they can't have a direct object. And anyone who's done German will probably know what a direct object is.
So you can't arrive something,
That's
can
right.
you?
It can't be verbed. With a transitive verb, you can have a dog, you can love a dog, you can play the
But
piano.
you can't go a dog, can
but
you?
you can't go a dog. That's
No.
right, exactly. So
And
in
you can't
French,
go, you can't
you
exit
can't,
a dog.
That's right, exactly. And here's the thing, you can't leave something in French. If you leave your house, you must use another verb. You must use quitter. So this means
Just to
leave
leave.
when you, yes, just to leave, that's right. And in French, you can't enter something. You must enter into something. You must entrer dans.
So
and you must sortir de.
They're all intransitive.
So they're all intransitive. They can't have a direct object. That's the reason why. Now, if you think, oh, I can't actually manage that at the moment, that's okay. For now, just remember, pas men 5 trams.
Okay.
Pas men 5 trams.
That's
right.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah. So the past participles, let's have a look at them. Here they are. And you'll notice, I'm just going to...
Are they like the IR?
Well, that's right. That's right. So that's regular, isn't it? And arrivé.
Right. Arrivé with an acute.
With an acute. So that's a regular past participle, isn't it?
That's right.
Regular past participle. Now, look, here we go. Mort is irregular, isn't it?
That's quite irregular.
That's irregular. Entrée, regular.
That's fine. Acute.
Oh, that's irregular, isn't it?
The dying and the being born.
That's
they're
right.
Quite irregular.
They're quite irregular. Descendre, descendu. Well, that's what we'd expect, isn't it?
Yes.
Venir, venu.
Oh, that's a bit tricky.
Yeah, that's
so
a bit irregular.
So the venir is usually you'd think veni, but it's not.
It's not. That's right. Tomber, though.
That's great.
Yep, regular.
Acute.
Yep.
Acute.
Yep.
Acute.
Yep.
And the I.
That's
so
right.
There's only 3 that are
that have an irregular past participle.
So you
some
have
of
to
them
remember
are,
that.
That's right. Some of them are irregular in their conjugation, but what we need to remember here is the only irregular past participles are those ones.
Mort, né, and venu.
That's right.
Mort,
né, venu. Mort, né, venu.
Oh, that's pretty easy.
That's great. We can say that and we'll remember that, won't we? Beautiful. So let's have a bit of fun here.
Ooh,
Madame Tamboureau. Let's do some examples. What ink have I got the right ink colour? Oh, that's red. Maybe I'll change that, shall I?
How about a blue?
A blue would be a good idea. There we go. So let's say I'm a boy, and let's say I arrived. How do you reckon we might do that?
Let's do the present tense. First of all, it's je pars.
Oh, that's I leave. So je pars. All right.
I'm leaving.
Je pars.
You want to say I left.
I left.
Now we're going to
right.
use the je that goes with être. So to be je suis.
Je suis. So the first thing we conjugate être, and suis is the correct form that goes with je. Je suis. That's the first part. Oh, sorry. Yes, that's right.
And it goes to je suis parti.
That's right, parti. And here's our past participle.
Aha, that's perfect.
So just as we had with the avoir one, there's our present tense. 2 parts. First part, conjugate the auxiliary.
Yes.
Plus the past participle.
And if you wanted to say I left at 2 o'clock, what would you say?
Je suis parti à
2 heures.
2 heures. That's right. And what about if we're talking about, there's a guy there and he's arriving now. Il arrive.
So you'd have to say
what would we do?
Il. Now you'd have est because
That's
it
right.
goes with il est.
That's right. We have to conjugate.
And then arrivé.
Arrivé, and then we add the past participle. So
and
the 2 parts.
Do you say il est arrivé?
Il est arrivé. That's right. We make the liaison because we have a vowel here. Il est arrivé. That's right. So the 2 parts, passé composé, composed of 2 parts. First of all, conjugate être, the auxiliary, add the past participle.
Right. Now, how would you say he died?
He died. Will you tell me?
Let me think. I've just got to think. Is it mort, né, venu?
That's
mort,
it. Mort, né, venu.
So it's mort.
It's mort. Il est mort. Fantastic. And you remembered that irregular past participle, didn't you? Il est mort. That's brilliant.
Now, what about he was born? Il est né.
Il est né. Exactly.
And then he came. Il est venu.
Il est venu. And now we've covered all our irregular past participles. Il est mort, il est né, il est venu.
Fantastic.
And the other ones have got
so
regular.
That's great. That's quite. It's quite
logical.
Straightforward.
Quite straightforward. Here's the thing we need to remember.
With
I know.
There's a little exception.
There's a little exception. Here's the thing. The past participle has to agree with the subject because this time we're using être. So it's a bit like an adjective.
Right.
Now, you know when we have an adjective in French, it has to agree, not like English. We don't have any agreements. It has to agree.
We know all those agreements in French.
That's right. In French, we have to add an E when it's feminine and an S for plural. And if it's feminine plural, of course, we add an E and an S.
Yes.
So let's look at what we do with adjectives.
Let's think of petit.
Okay.
Let's think of, you've got it there.
I've got it right there. Isn't that a miracle? Je suis petit. Now, if I was a girl, we'd have to say je suis
petite.
We'd have to say je suis petite because we'd have to make it agree. Here's être. We'd have to make it agree. That's
right.
What I
wanted to say and then little like boys that'd be petit.
Petit.
With just an S.
That's right. And it's in the same way. Tu es petit. And if you were a girl, you would be tu es petite. We'd have to make it agree.
That's right.
Now, a boy, il est intelligent. No agreement. We don't need that because it's masculine singular. But if it was a girl, elle est grande, we'd have to put the E because it's she.
Yeah, right. And if it was a boy, it would be il est grand without the E.
Il est grand without the E, exactly.
What about if there were lots of girls?
Well, you'd have to add an S Nous sommes contents. And if there were a lot of girls, oh, that's we. Nous sommes contentes. We'd have to add an E and an S.
Right, so all boys would just be nous sommes contents
with an S.
And all girls would be ES.
E and S.
And what if it's
But
mixed?
Well, that's the same rule, Madame Tambour, isn't it? If you have 1,000,000 girls and one male puppy dog, or a boy who's only 6 months old, any skerrick of masculinity, what do we have to do?
No E.
No E.
No E.
It's masculine.
Masculine.
It's masculine. It's that sexist thing, isn't it?
Yes.
But we have to have an S here. We are happy. We is plural. There's more than one of us, so we have to have the S.
Yes, absolutely.
In the same way, vous êtes jolie. Now, if you were talking just to Madame Jenkins, you'd just, well, actually you'd use an E, wouldn't it? But it would be singular. If you were talking to a man you hadn't met before, you might not call him pretty, but if you did,
Say he was,
if you did, you would have it like this. You would have it masculine, singular.
Right.
If you were talking to somebody who was feminine, you would add an E.
Now, what about if you're talking to a group of boys?
Group of boys, well, it would be with an S,
so
plural.
Jolis.
That's right. But if it's a group of girls, or actually women, because of course we're vous, it's people who are important, isn't it? Or people who we want to show respect to or we don't know, we'd add an E and an S.
Oh, right.
And then ils sont méchants, we add an S because it's plural.
But it's masculine.
And when it's feminine, elles sont vertes. They are green.
Vert.
Yes.
And if it was if it was ils sont vertes, would it be just no E?
Just no E. That's right. Now we've used adjectives here. This was just to show, just to remind you, just to revise what we do with adjectives. Just because it's going to help you
when you're putting a past participle.
That's right.
So we have to add E and S. Oh.
In the same way, the past participle agrees with the subject of the verb. So let's try and apply those same principles, those same agreements when we're conjugating the verb.
Okay. You have to add an E.
If I'm a girl, je suis arrivée, we have to put the E.
Does it sound different?
No, listen to this. If I'm a boy, je suis arrivé.
Right.
If I'm a girl, je suis arrivée.
It sounds the same, but you realise with the E when it's written.
That's exactly right. When it's written, that's exactly right. Now look at this one. Tu es descendu. Tu es descendu.
Right.
Same thing, we can't hear the difference, can we?
Right.
Not with this one, but we know that this is if it were a boy, and this is if it were a girl with the E.
Okay.
Il est tombé.
Right. You can never have an E on the end.
No.
It's il.
There's no agreement because he's masculine and singular. But elle est venue
has to have an E.
Has to have an E.
It'd be wrong or would it be elle est venue without an E?
It would be wrong if it was elle est venue without an E. Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely right. And even though we can't hear it when we speak, we know when we write it.
Okay. This is a tricky one.
Nous sommes entrés. Now, if there's any boys in the group and we
just an S.
That's it, just an S.
That's right.
But if we're a group of girls and we've just arrived?
ES.
ES, or we've entered the room, and AS, that's exactly right.
And the same with this one, I suppose.
Again, depending on who's in the group or whether it's one person, whether they're masculine, singular, feminine, plural.
Right. So, for example, if it was masculine, it'd be just allé.
Vous êtes allé, like that.
If it was masculine, if it was plural, masculine, with just perhaps even one guy in there but a group of people, it would be with an S.
That's right.
If it was all girls, ES.
That's right.
And one girl, E.
That's it. So it's the same principle as the adjectives. That's right. It's got to agree in the same way. Ils sont montés with an S.
Right, because it's just the il.
It's plural.
I bet the ils sont montés is E acute ES, is it?
You're so right, Madame Tambourin. You're absolutely correct. Elles sont parties. We have to have the E because they're feminine. We have to have the S because they're plural.
Oh, right. Can I try some now?
Great idea. So let me grab that pen back again. Oh, nope. Let me grab that pen back again. Where is it? There it is.
Okay, now let me see if I want to say
yes, okay.
She arrived.
She arrived. So should we put that in present tense first of all?
I think so. You give me some.
The first one is she arrives. This is the present tense, isn't it? She arrives. Now what are we going to do?
We'll say elle.
Elle.
Now you've got to use the etre.
That's right.
That would be est.
That's right.
And arriver with an E acute, but you have to add an E.
That's right.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Now let me think. I want to do one with nous.
Okay.
So I want to say we have arrived and we're all choral girls.
We're all choral girls.
Okay. Nous sommes.
Yes.
And then arriver. So you put the arriver and then you add E.
Yeah, because we're girls, and S because we're plural.
Fantastic.
That's it. That's
now, what
great.
about the boys? They have arrived.
Okay, the St Kevin's boys arrived for the production.
So ils.
Yeah.
Let me think. Sont.
Sont.
S-O-N-T.
Yeah.
And then arrivé.
Yeah.
Cute. But then you only add an S.
An S because it's plural. Exactly right.
Ah, that's right. Now, do you say nous sommes arrivés?
Yes. Absolutely, we make the liaison because it's next to a vowel. Nous sommes arrivés.
And what about this one? Ils
sont arrivés. And here, elle est arrivée.
Aha. Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely
that's
right.
pretty clear cut, isn't it?
Well, it is. We've just got to remember that just like with the passé composé with avoir, it's formed of two parts. We conjugate the helping verb, the auxiliary, either avoir, être, and we add the past participle.
But it's
the same.
it's actually paying respect to whether you're a girl or a guy.
Well, it is. That's
and
right.
whether there's more than one person or not.
Absolutely. So we just got to remember with être, there's only a few of them, and we can learn them. The palm in 5 trams.
That's right.
And then we also need to remember
irregular ones.
Yes,
the mort, né,
venu. Mort né venu sounds like a mornay, salmon mornay.
That's right.
Mort né venu. And the other thing we have to remember is that they have to agree just the same way as an adjective agrees.
And even
the
though
past
you can't
participles
hear
have
it,
to agree.
it's
no,
there.
that's
you can't
right.
hear it, but it's there.
So we know that the past participles have to agree.
Can I try one? Can I try one more?
Absolutely, yes.
What about leaving?
Okay.
Would be
so
elle est partie.
Elle est partie. Absolutely right. And what are we putting on the end?
An IE. That's it. Perfect. And what about she died? It's a bit depressing. It's a bit depressing.
Yes, but this is a good one.
This is elle est. Now it's small, but then we have to add an E.
We have to add an E. Morte. Now this time we can hear the difference, can't we?
Yes.
Elle est morte.
What about the born? She's born. Elle est.
Elle est. Do you remember the past participle for naître?
N acute.
Yeah.
And then E on the end.
Elle est née.
Now, I've often seen that in newspapers.
Yes, that's right, I've told my girls as well. This appears in English. And we use it to show that it was someone's maiden name. For example, people might say of me, Fiona Thorne née Curnow, because I was born Curnow.
That's fantastic.
And that's why, so we use it in English as well. And that's why you would have seen it. But interestingly, we only see it like this because we only see it in the feminine form, because it's the women who change their names.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's really quite straightforward.
It is quite straightforward.
And we just have to now be really careful when we're looking through the verbs and lists.
Remember the palm in 5 trams. Remember the irregular ones, the irregular past participles, and make sure
that we add the
we make it agree, just like with an adjective.
Oh, merci beaucoup.
Merci.